Okay, this is the key to unlocking everything we're going to do. This is the SVG file. It's what you put your design into, and it's what we send to the drawing machine. And in a moment, we're going to open it up, have a look inside, and then figure out how we do everything we're going to do, but with code. For people who already know code, you'll probably get halfway through this video and go, okay, I understand now, I've got it, I'm going to take it from here. That's cool. But you might want to stick around for the rest of it. Artists, stick for the coding lessons after that. So for this next bit, we're going to be using Inkscape. You don't need it for this whole thing, but it's probably a good idea to get it. It allows you to easily preview SVGs and do a couple of other useful things. But I just want to show you something quickly. So if I draw a line with 4 points, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And I'm now going to save it. So I'm going to go save as, and I'm going to call it test SVG. Now over here on the right in the file system, I can now see that this is an SVG here. And if I move this, to somewhere else, save it, we can see it updating on the right over here. So the interesting thing about SVG files is they're just a text file. So if I go to here and I go open with text edit, and we'll just make this nice and big so we can see what's going on. Let's do it like this. There we go. Okay, we'll go through this in a second. Okay, a little sidebar here. I'm opening this SVG in text edit here. I also open it in my editor, which I think is VSC Code or something like that. And they made an update last year, which now just shows the SVG as the graphic, as the image, instead of the text file. So if you open it up in your text editor or your code editor, you might find it's displaying the SVG, not the text file. You can either work in text edit, or there's probably a setting somewhere to get it to switch back. But I found that as a thing. So yeah, well, under the hood, it's a text file, open in a text editor. So I'm going to go through this a second, and I'm just going to clean a couple of things up that we actually don't need. So we're going to get rid of this soda bit and the defs. Okay, here we go. So up at the top here, we've got the width and height. Now this is the width and height of an A4 sheet of paper. Let me check that. So here, A4, 210 millimeters by 297 millimeters. So yes, so this is an important thing. We'll make a note of this. And then the view box is also the same numbers. Now at this point, if we wanted to change this to A3 or a different size, we would change both of these numbers to be the millimeters and this to be the same one. So as long as those numbers match, everything will be fine. And this is why we're talking about working in millimeters when we're saying about the anatomy of a piece of paper. So that's the first thing to note there. The other thing we're going to look at is this path down here. Now I'm going to just clean this up a little bit to make life slightly easier. So this style, I'm going to take the whole of this style and I'm going to put it into this group. So now this style applies to the whole group. Let's just go there. And I'm actually going to take this down to, I'm going to call this 0.2 millimeters. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of all of that stuff to make it more readable. And down here, this path, we'll talk about this path in a second, but again, to make it slightly more readable, it's got all these decimal places here. I'm just going to get rid of all of those. Just to save space, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so now I've got a cleaned up SVG file. So the things we're concerned about is this big chunky header up here, which starts off the SVG file, and the fact that we can change these values here to change the piece of paper size. This is a group that is going to group things together, so that's the start of the group, and that's the end of the group. So actually, all of this here, in the future, we're going to call the head of an SVG file. And this down here is the tail of the SVG file. And this is what we're dealing with here. This is a path, and it's telling it to draw by moving to this position. And then it's going to draw a line to this position, this one, and this one. So if I change this, the very last point to be 10 and hit save, we can see the last point has moved up. So what does this mean? Well, if we wanted to draw like a square at 30mm and 30mm, so in the top left-hand corner, if we change this first point to 30, 30 and hit save, first point there. Okay, let's go 60 across, 30 down, second point moves. Let's go to 60 across and 60 down, third point moves. Let's go to 30 across and 60 down. Okay, and let's add a final point at 30, 30. We've drawn ourselves a square. That was pretty easy. So if, once again, you're already a coder, this is probably making sense to you, is we can control all these points on the line to do this path here. But let's say we want a second square. Let's copy and paste that. And now these are 30 centimeters across. So let's add 40 to the X coordinate that's starting here. So let's make this 70, 100, 100, 70, 70 and save. Got a second square. All right, let's add 40 to all the X positions again. So 110, 140, 140, 110, 110, a third square. So this is a bit like the dot to dot I showed you when I was talking about pen plotters and the robin going, we draw all these positions. We're thinking in millimeters, so I could have a piece of paper and I could design on the piece of paper and go, I want these squares and measure them all up and then just put the points into here. I'm very quickly going to do the next obvious thing, which is take all of these and make another row, and we're going to move the Y position down instead. So that's going to become 70, 70, 100, 100, 70, 70, 70. Is this right? Am I doing this right? I think so. 100, 100, 100, 100. 70, 70, 70, 70. And obviously, I'm going to fast forward this one. Alrighty, we're going to dive into this a lot more when it comes to the code point of view, but I wanted to show you that an SVG file and how we're going to be dealing with it is just a text file, and every line that we send to the drawing machine is just a series of points. So if it's a circle or a curve or whatever, we're actually plotting a whole bunch of points. And all the coding part of this whole series of videos will be talking about how we do that, and what the code's going to be doing is generating a text file here, because a text file is one of the easiest things for most coding languages to handle. So we'll run an example in Python, we'll do another one in Node.js, and then another one in JavaScript in the browser, and probably processing as well. I think we'll do 4, and we'll all spit out an SVG file as a text file, and then we can send it to the plotter. Just wanted to do another sidebar here thing. So even if you don't have a drawing machine, you can do this with an SVG, and then this will open up in Inkscape that we've just been using, or you can open it up in Preview on the Mac, or you can open it up in Firefox, you can open this, and then send it to a printer to see what it looks like. And the reason for doing this is often things look different once you printed it than they do on screen. I've designed things on screen and they've looked great, but then when I sent them to the plotter and it's finished drawing, I realized the margins are actually too small and the composition is all off. So even if you don't have a plotter yet, you can be following along with this course, generating these SVGs and then sending them to a normal printer, printing them out, and then deciding if that's the type of thing you'd want to have on a pen plotter or not. So that's it. That's the lesson. We've finally cracked what an SVG is. Like I said, when we get to the code, we'll go into this more detail, but essentially we're going to be taking this header up here, this thing, and then spitting that out into a file with the correct paper size. Then we're going to be using our code to write out all our lines, and then we'll be finishing off by closing it up and then saving the file out. Oh hey, we're back. Okay, we've cracked open an SVG file. Hopefully that makes sense to you. In the next video, we're actually going to write one by hand, which will be a calibration file that allows us to draw a dot in each corner of the page. So if we're switching pens, we're changing color, things like that, it will help us get everything lined up. It's a kind of useful one, and it'll be a quick one as well. And then we'll get into the actual teaching part of the whole course. So hopefully that was fun, and I will see you in the next video.